This is Mac OS Ken.
Notes on App Store link outs. Mr. Munster gives Apple 2 years to get their AI act together. And Apple grows retail and a relationship in India. It is Friday, the 6th of June, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Insta360's new X5. Get an invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle at store.insta360.com with code MacOSCan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. After the appeals court denial of Apple's stay request earlier this week, you may be wondering how Apple shares will be affected. I mean, you probably aren't. I know I wasn't. Still, JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee has written about it, so we may as well see what he had to say. Apple had appealed to the U.S. Ninth Circuit, asking it to put aside orders regarding link outs of the App Store to developer sites, as well as whether it could charge commission on sales made outside the App Store. The company requested that those orders be stayed while it appealed the late April ruling. On Wednesday, that request was denied. Apple 3.0 ran part of a note from JP Morgan's Chatterjee on Thursday responding to that news. While the denial by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit is a headwind for Apple, it's being overblown in his estimation. The analyst says the actual impact will be driven by the adoption rate for link-out payments by consumers, which he doesn't seem to think will be that big. That said, there are two things for which to watch, according to the analyst. Apple's appeal against the link-out ruling, which could take 2 years or more to play out in his estimation, and whether other countries and regions follow the lead laid by the April ruling and demand zero-commission link-outs for their app stores. Last I heard, Mr. Chatterjee had an overweight rating on Apple's shares. His price target on the shares then was $240. While it is early days, a piece from Apple Insider offers reasons for Apple investors to chill on the whole link-out thing. The site cites a survey from AlphaWise, outlined by Morgan Stanley. According to the piece, the survey asked respondents how low prices would have to go to get them to buy on a developer site instead of through the App Store. The report had them indicating that they would need a discount of around 29% for it to be justifiable. The piece points out that the needed discount percentage isn't great news for developers since it's so close to the existing 30% fee for App Store transactions that Apple already charges. In effect, a developer would theoretically earn the same amount from selling the app purchases themselves as they would from the App Store after Apple's cut, and that's excluding any processing fees or other potential charges associated with the transaction. Not that Apple is in the clear as far as Morgan Stanley is concerned. Apple Insider says the results indicate a revenue risk caused by the injunction of about $3.7 billion to Apple. In a worst-case scenario, this would equate to an earnings per share hit of 16 cents. That $3.7 billion hit is a lot of money per quarter, and something that Apple is keen to protect. Last I saw, Morgan Stanley had an overweight rating on Apple shares. The firm's price target then was $235. Let's do another from the financial front. I told you yesterday of a downgrade of Apple shares by Needham & Company analyst Laura Martin. She and hers think Apple is too far behind on AI and that something else will come along to eat iPhone's lunch. Apple has time, according to Deepwater Asset Management's Brian Baker and Gene Munster. Not a huge amount of time, but time. Around 2 years, according to the Deepwater dudes. 9to5Mac ran part of a note they wrote on Thursday. They say two factors will keep Apple users locked in as we head to a world awash in artificial intelligence. First and foremost, more than half of Apple's customers have more than one Apple device. They like how those things work together, plus they also use at least some Apple services like Apple Music, iCloud, Apple News, and so on. The combination of those two factors makes Apple customers extremely loyal, according to Munster and Baker. Now, the second thing is what I was driving at yesterday. According to the Analysts, the AI device competition is also behind the curve at launching must-have AI features. This was what I meant when I asked yesterday what Ms. Martin thinks all those AI assistants and LLMs are going to run on. Quoting the Deepwater note, there are smartphones and devices with AI capabilities outside of Apple products, but none of these devices have features unique enough yet to get Apple users to switch. Additionally, an AI-first device doesn't exist yet. Use cases are still in development, and the simple fact is the technology is not there yet. The first one they see coming will be born of whatever OpenAI and Johnny Ive make. They point out, though, that's not expected until sometime next year at the earliest. And they think that that device will likely set the stage for Apple's next big device. I'm not going to argue with what they've said, since they said well what I was trying to say yesterday. I will say 2 years doesn't feel like that long a time. That said, the sky does not appear to be falling tomorrow. Remember the story last week that said Apple's next store in India was set for Bengaluru? Turns out they might be coming too fast to know which store will be the next one. It was India's business standard that indicated that Bengaluru's Phoenix Mall of Asia would be home to the subcontinent's third Apple store. Now Apple Insider says the next Apple store for India is set for Sky City Mall, Borivali East, Mumbai. That story is based on a piece from the Hindu Business Line. Sort of seems like Apple Insider may have jumped the gun, assuming the Sky City Mall location will be the next one to open. Scanning the Hindu Business Line story, I don't see a date for when the location will go live. That said, the piece does say that Apple has at least 4 more stores planned for India: Pune, Bengaluru, Delhi NCR, and Mumbai. From storefronts to repair solutions, another piece from Apple Insider has the Cupertino company leaning more heavily on Indian conglomerate Tata. According to 2 sources of Reuters, according to the report, Apple has started to work with Tata Group on iPhone and MacBook repairs for products sold in India. The move will see Tata take over from Wistron subsidiary ICT Service Management Solutions in repairing Apple hardware for consumers. Tata already makes iPhones for Apple in India, having bought a manufacturing facility from Wistron in 2023. It's since grown to 3 Apple manufacturing facilities, according to the report. Apple Insider says by taking over from Wistron in manufacturing and now servicing, Tata has a much bigger grip on the Indian iPhone and MacBook operations than before. Along with retail and manufacturing, it now has a full view of the entire iPhone production, sales, and servicing process, which can help it inform future business decisions. Could also make Tata key to Apple's operations in India. With more knowledge of the local area than Foxconn and an apparent desire for more of Apple's business, Apple Insider sees the possibility of Tata eventually becoming one of Apple's closest allies in the emerging and valuable market. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Insta360, and their new 360-degree camera, X5. Out since the end of April, X5 comes with a ton of improvements over previous models. It features 8K 360-degree video and enhanced low light performance for all-angle shooting, day or night. Larger sensors deliver 8K video with amazing clarity, including night shooting that yields unprecedented detail. The lenses are made from a tougher optical glass, giving them superior impact resistance. There's a new built-in wind guard and an upgraded algorithm for consistently clear audio. It's waterproof down to 49 feet, and it's got a 3-hour battery life. This is Insta360's most durable 360-degree camera yet. And it is waiting for you. Head to store.insta360.com to see what they have and use code MacOSKen for a free 45-inch invisible selfie stick with your X5 standard bundle purchase. The pull disappears from 360-degree footage, leaving people to wonder how you get the shots you got. It's a $24.99 value, but it is free for the first 30 people who go to store.insta360.com and buy an X5 standard bundle with code MacOSKen. Shoot every angle at once. Get your free invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle with code MacOSKen. Be sure to use that code MacOSKen at store.insta360.com. So you know how many calories your Apple Watch says you burn? Researchers from the University of Mississippi say you're probably not burning as many as it says. CNET ran a piece on the research. For steps and heart rate, Apple's wearable is said to be stellar. Quoting CNET, heart rate had a percentage error of 4.43%, while step count had an error of 8.17. Anything below 10 is considered excellent, so you should feel pretty confident in what your Apple Watch says your heart rate and step count are for the day. Where it apparently falls off is on calorie burn. The percentage error for this metric, according to the report, 27.96%. Not great, and yeah, I'm counting the days to the lawsuit. But here's the thing. CNET says another study found that the Fitbit Surge had a mean error of 27% when measuring calories burned. Other studies have found other trackers to be off by 40% to 80%. According to the site, if you're wondering which smartwatch you should get for the best accuracy, it's hard to say. They all have their own tracking methods, even if they often overlap. CNET's Taylor Leamy says high-performance athletes who need truly accurate calorie burn measurements should not rely on a smartwatch. For everybody else, Leamy says your smartwatch is a tool to guide you through your wellness journey. Use it to build habits and make meaningful changes. Nothing new on Apple TV Plus this weekend, but Apple still got ways for you to kill time. The Cupertino company issued a press release Thursday reminding people about new games in Apple Arcade and teasing a few coming in July. New to Apple's Gaming Hub now are Helix Jump Plus, Lego Hill Climb Adventures Plus, Lost in Play Plus, Uno Arcade Edition, and What the Car. You know, I nearly bought Uno for the family at the grocery store last week. Thank the makers for letting me play Uno without them. Next month, the release says 4 fun games bring even more reason to jump in and play. Wait a minute, those other 5 aren't fun? They sounded fun. Anyway, on the way next month, Angry Birds Bounce, Crayola Scribble Scrubby Pets Plus, Kingdom Rush 5, Alliance TD Plus, and Suica Game Plus. Finally, my Angry Birds references will be back in vogue. Next month's titles hit Apple Arcade on Thursday, the 3rd of July. This week on the checklist, brought to you by Secure Mac. If you're a T-Mobile customer, they're doing something that might not bother you if they asked. The problem is, they did not. We'll tell you what they're up to. Also, if a service requires a username and a password, should it require the use of two-factor authentication as well? We'll kick that idea around on checklist number 426. Find it today at securemac.com/checklist or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Insta360's new X5. Get an invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle at store.insta360.com with code macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSKen at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.